Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. We have a quorum. Crystal Johnson is absent. Dawn Smith is present. Karen Skinner is absent. Kyle Kennedy is present. Candace Stone is present. Brittany Murray is absent. Simon Tidwell, myself is present, and Nicole Shaw is going to be serving this evening as well. And Chuck Fuller is absent. Okay, if you'll all please stand for our invocation. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here this evening to do the work of the city and provide recommendations to our council that will lead to the betterment of our city and the public at large. It's in your name I pray, amen. Excuse me, Kyle, please.
Yes. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee,
Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Sorry. Community announcements. Items of community interest may include recognizing citizens and staff for outstanding contributions to the community, a reminder about an upcoming event that is organized or sponsored by the governing body, and announcements of an imminent threat to public safety that has arisen after the posting of this agenda. Do we have any community announcements? Okay. Citizen input. Any person may address the commission. If your comments are concerning an agenda item, you may wait until the discussion on that item if you prefer. Once recognized by the chairperson, please step forward to the speaker's podium, state your name and address, speak directly into the microphone so that people in the room and those attending remotely can hear comments and see presentations. To request to speak via video conference, click on participants at the bottom of the screen and click raise hand. The chairperson will acknowledge your request and allow you to speak. Citizen comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual unless additional time is otherwise required by law. No discussion or action may be taken at this meeting or on any item not listed on the agenda other than to make statements of factual information or recite existing policy in response to a citizen's inquiry. Do you have any citizen input? Okay. New business. Item 1, consideration and action on the minutes of the May 9th, 2024 meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Okay, John makes a motion.
Second.
Kyle seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? It passes. There's 5 of us, 5-0. Okay, item number 2, consideration and action for a site plan approval for Shops at High Meadows, lot 4R1, Block A of the Garland Wilson addition located at the southwest corner of the intersection of East High Meadow Drive and Betty Lane, City of Aubrey, Denton County, Texas. Locate.
Yes, good evening. I noticed that Lauren Hamburger is on Zoom, so she is on the applicant, represents the applicant. The location map is here so that the commission can see the location of this area. You'll notice that the property is highlighted here in that light blue. And then this area just to the south of it, that is county, that is not city. The shaded area is Aubrey here, and then over here we're in Krugerville.
That's Aubrey Creek.
Excuse me, you are right and I'm wrong. All of that is Aubrey in the shaded area. So this is a map, zoning map. Shows that the property is zoned shopping center. Proposed uses in the site plan indicate that the applicant and the owner are going to be proposing uses that are consistent with the shopping centers zone. This is a snip of the site plan, and the proposed use is for 2 building shells with parking and landscaping. I've included the site data table, which indicates the uses, the parking, the building height, the lot coverage. All of these items are consistent with the zoning requirements. They have the required number of parking spaces. This particular area has drainage challenges, and the applicant and the owner have been going back and forth for a little while, trying to appease the city engineer regarding their impact to drainage. My understanding is that the city staff is in support of infrastructure improvements in this area. The city engineer has reviewed these construction plans and has some minor technical items that need to be resolved, but they're minor and can be addressed by the applicant's engineer. The property will need to be replatted. And the next step will be replatting in order to dedicate the fire lane and any other water, sewer connections necessary for the drainage easements and things. There is a water line easement here on the south end. Right there, there's a 10-foot water easement that has been there already. And I bring that up because that does impact their proposed landscaping plan. So the applicant has proposed, much of what they're proposing is consistent with the landscaping requirements. You'll notice over here, they've provided plenty of trees. So the red represents what is required based on the length of the lot and the zoning buffer requirements. So, for example, the north side requires a 10-foot buffer. They're providing a 10-foot buffer. It requires 2 canopy trees and 4 understory trees, or 4.5, 5, round up to 5 understory trees. There are no understory trees provided specifically in the landscape plan, but the canopy trees are increased. You see that for the most part, except over here on the south property line, because of the water line that is there, they are not proposing shrubs or trees, and that is inconsistent with the landscape ordinance. So the ordinance section 23F4 allows planning and zoning to grant landscaping variances if the following conditions can be, if you feel that these conditions can be met. Does this lot have unique circumstances that already exist that make application of specific items in this section unduly burdensome? There was that water easement, they didn't put that in, that was there, and there's utilities there. And it is not recommended to be planting trees when there are pipelines and things underneath them. The variance will have no adverse impact on current or future development. If the commission believes that that is the case, then you can recommend this variance. The variance is in keeping with the spirit of the zoning regulations and will have a minimal impact, if any, on the surrounding land uses. And the variance will have no adverse impact on the public health, safety, and general welfare. And a financial hardship is not considered as a basis for granting that variance. So that is something that y'all will need to decide if you agree that those that the site plan meets those requirements. Then staff is recommending conditional approval of the site plan. And the conditions are that the city council agrees with city staff that public improvements are necessary in this area, and that the owner of this property will pay their fair share of drainage infrastructure improvements needed for their particular development. That the owner and the applicant will address the comments provided by the city engineer, and that there is agreement on this modification of the landscape requirements. And I'll try and answer any questions if I can. The applicant is also here. The applicant's representative is here as well to try and answer.
So that's currently zoned industrial, correct?
No,
Or is
the
that
zo-
commercial?
Zoning is
Is
shopping center,
shopping center,
but it is
city
right next
to
to
the industrial.
industrial.
Where's Leanne? Is the city gonna address that intersection? There's no stop signs, just. And the traffic's increasing on that road. Okay. It just concerns me with the increased traffic, because you've got the daycare close by as well. Okay. Those are all my questions. Anybody else have any questions?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out exactly where it is.
So if you're going down High Meadow, you've got the apartments, you pass by Blue Diamond Apartments
Yes.
on your left, and then right before you make the turn to go on Betty to go to the daycare will be,
So is it,
There's a
is
corner
it,
lot.
it's on High Meadows where the apartments are,
High Meadow's on the apartments, yes.
and
on
they
the-
will
on the
be
north side.
adjacent to those?
They'll be
They're
across the
across
street
the
from the main entrance.
And then
Okay,
also
that little-
is
that
right
little kind
over
of
here on
looks
this
like a
corner,
cul-de-sac.
right?
Okay,
So you've got Red Fern along
Mhm.
here and then you turn on
That's
Betty
Betty.
okay.
and then you come out.
So
Six
that-
is there, and you've got the High Meadow Apartments there.
I may
There's
be
a big-
mistaken, but that white piece is the daycare, that
Okay.
long strip.
Okay.
I had to drive back there today because I couldn't picture it either.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
one of my way home. So I'm quite familiar. Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Do we need to do a motion on a variance and a motion for approve the site plan?
We're making a recommendation,
I didn't know if they're two separate actions or.
it's gonna be one action with the proposed, if we can get with the proposed, well, the 1 through 4. So we're making a recommendation to either approve or deny. Sorry, approve with conditions or deny the site plan recommendation. Correct? Yes. Okay. Okay,
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve with the 4 conditions on the screen.
okay.
I'll second.
Don made the motion, Kyle has seconded the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Item number 3, conduct a public hearing, consider and make a recommendation to city council regarding an amendment to exhibit 14A zoning ordinance in chapter 14 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Auburn, Texas, section 6. Conditional uses and specific use permits to provide for regulations for alcoholic beverage sales through a specific use permit, SUP, and amending section 15. GR General Retail, section 16, SC Shopping Center, section 17, C Commercial, section 18, IND Industrial, and section 20, PD Plan Development District to provide for regulations for alcoholic beverage sales by specific use permit. Hi, Helen.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners and Chair. And so this item is all about alcoholic beverage sales. And most of you were here in March when we did an alcohol amendment for the commercial district. And that was to help jumpstart an application that the city had received for a package store. So this evening, we are opening up all of the non-residential districts. So in the caption that you just read, that's what we are doing. We are adding a section to the SUP conditional use permits to allow for alcoholic beverage sales through an SUP in all of those zoning districts. We also added the PD, the Plan Development District. There might be a number of PDs that are already existing that did not reference alcoholic beverages. So adding that now will help capture if those developments start to build and realize that they need to be able to have alcohol sales at their facilities. And as I said earlier, we looked at this back in March and City Council had directed staff to move forward with the overall amendment to provide for it in the city, because one of the parts of the permit for alcohol sales when someone comes in is it consistent? Is it an approved use? The city already has, through an alcohol election, that you all have the ability to sell alcoholic beverages, but the zoning ordinance didn't specify where that would be appropriate for zoning, and that is a box to check off. Is this location zoned for that type of use? So we'll be taking care of that as well. I'm putting a little chart up here so you can see the uses. We tried to stick with the terms that are used on TABC applications and those permits. And then the zoning districts, general retail, shopping center, commercial, industrial, and then the PD, which really would be the PDs that have commercial mixed use type components, would not be permitted in single family
No
residential.
speakeasies in Aubrey is what you're telling me.
Not yet. Not yet.
That you know of.
So the SUP is really the tool in all of these districts, with the exception of the industrial. Tend to want to keep those areas industrial, not so much neighborhood, commercial, or shopping center. Those are really intended to, not have a lot of local trips and traffic. And we want to encourage industrial in those areas. So you can see the SUP is only permitted for things that we kind of see that type of use, like brew pubs, wineries, distilleries, in those particular type of developments. So the regulations, it includes a number of items. Running through this really quick: definitions, the SUP being required. The chief of police will receive all of the applications to take a look at them to see if they have any issues or wanting to recommend conditions when it comes to P&Z and on to city council. Also the fees, and those are referenced to the base code in the business regulations that allows for alcohol with beverage sales in general. A zoning compliance prohibits the sale in residential areas. However, the regulations that you have in your packet does address like country clubs or even municipal golf courses to be able to have the sales in those locations. And then I mentioned about the planned development districts, the existing ones as well as future ones. Provides for beer and wine sales, package stores, some proximity requirements that are consistent with your existing alcohol regulations for the general sale, as well as matching TABC. Restaurants with food and beverage certificates, bars, taverns, distilleries, private clubs. And then the regulations also include a number of items. We have this in the SUP that went through in March, that they have to submit a floor plan or site plan, specific criteria for approval as well as denial, and then the distance requirements. And the low volume is 300 feet from church, schools, daycares, and then the high volume are 1,000 feet from those churches and schools. And the light business can't sell if it's within 2,000 feet. It also provides for exceptions and special events. City Council also made accommodations at the end of March for their special events. And also the sale on public property. And we've also put in an item for existing businesses that are currently operating without an SUP, that they would apply for it prior to renewal of their TABC permit. Once again, just for reference, this is the chart where the districts are recommended for an SUP. We published the text amendment in the paper, the city's official paper, and we have not had any responses in favor or in opposition to the notification. So this evening, the commission has the opportunity to approve the amendment, approve it with conditions, or deny the zoning amendment. And I'm available if you have any questions. And this is a public hearing.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and open the public hearing at 6:19. And I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:19. Does staff have an actual recommendation or is it just, or is,
Approval.
okay. Anybody have any questions?
I make a motion to approve as a,
Right, Candace makes a motion.
Second.
And Nicole seconds it. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Item number 4, conduct a public hearing, consider and make a recommendation to city council regarding a specific use permit request to allow the sale for alcoholic beverages in conjunction with the restaurant use for Brothers Mexican Restaurant, 1001 Highway 377, Suite 109, City of Aubrey, Denton County, Texas.
Thank you. So this next item, number 4, is a public hearing for an SUP, a specific use permit. And the map that's up there is a location map as well as a notification area. The area in the pinkish purple is the 200-foot notification area. Properties at the southeast corner of Concho and 377. The light blue is the suite for the specific use permit. The specific use permit is tied to that lease space and not the overall property. And the applicant, they have applied for a specific use permit to have a alcoholic beverage sales with a beverage, food and beverage certificate. So that means they have to meet the requirements for the percentage of food to alcohol ratio. The criteria, the traffic congestion, TABC compliance, type of establishment, public impact, security, and all of those items have been satisfied. The police chief does not have any issues with the application that you're reviewing this evening. The property is adequately parked, and as well as there are no environmental issues. The expiration would be if they leave that space. We call it if they abandon that use for 6 months, then they are terminated for that SUP. And then any new application, the new operator coming in would need to apply. I mentioned earlier, the site is a developed property, a restaurant proximity. It is not within 300 feet of a public school, private school, church, daycare, meaning daycare, I think, oops, and a childcare facility or public hospital. The criteria for approval that you all have the ability to measure an application. Is it compatible with the surrounding area? Is it detrimental or offensive? Is it found to be in non-compliance? We have recommended approval of this item. You have the ability to also add any additional conditions. And the city council can add on conditions as well. If you see anything that you might want to address. The notifications were provided in the paper as well as the property owners within 200 feet. We have not received anything at this time. We are recommending approval, and you have the opportunity to approve of conditions or deny. And I don't know if someone is online who needs to speak on this item.
We did notify the people right behind.
Yes.
There's not any negative chatter on the neighborhood Facebook.
Ah.
I can report that. There's always positive chatter about a sit-down restaurant in Aubrey. So, as you all are aware. Does anybody have any questions? You're right. Thank you. Usually I had little lines to write in. I have to write my own lines now. I'm gonna open the public hearing at 6:23.